Hello, my name is Debbie Kramlich, and I've been part of the committee that has been developing the Transformative Listening Project over the past year. We're a group of people from all over the world that has been working specifically on finding an activity that would develop principles of effective listening. Tess shared with you how you can run this activity. Michael shared with you a bit of the history of this activity, and I would like to share with you some of the venues how you can use this specific activity. While we were developing it, we ran it through 3 different prototypes, and I had the privilege of being involved in all 3 prototypes. The first one I did with a relative stranger that was on the committee with me. His name was Paul, and we did this with him in California, and I was in Thailand. And we used Zoom to communicate with each other. And even though we were half a world apart, through both of us sharing stories with each other and really focusing on listening to each other and deliberately ignoring all the other distractions that come, focusing on our bodies and what we were hearing, we were able to get to know each other quite quickly, and we're able to be vulnerable and transparent with each other. And through this short exercise, a friendship grew. And now I know Paul on a completely different level, and we still keep in contact. A few months later, I had the opportunity to prototype the next version of this listening activity in Milan. I was at a conference. Alessandra, who was also on the committee with me, decided to run another prototype and give an invitation to the different committee participants that were at the conference. We had 4 people show up from different countries. We ran through the instructions and then gave someone in the group, the opportunity to share a story. Initially, it was dead quiet. No one wanted to talk. People were uncomfortable. And someone even asked if they could possibly leave because another session was starting. We didn't give up. We just sat in the quiet for a bit. And then one of the participants shared a very deep, personal and moving story. Through this story, through his transparency, it caught all of our attention. And as we discussed what he had shared, we realized that we had a common pain that all of us were carrying. We didn't know where our home truly was. Many of us had been born in one country and had moved to different countries, or had moved in different locations, or else even in their work didn't have that sense of really knowing what home was or where that home was. As we shared our stories with each other based on this commonality, many of us found ourselves teared up, crying, and we didn't want to stop talking with each other. This prototype was only supposed to last a half hour, and it went over an hour. And we are still keeping in contact with each other today, even though it's 6 months after this happened. And we're even trying to see if we can facilitate a time for us to meet up and write more, because this activity was so powerful, and it joined us together in a completely new and deep level where a relationship was founded. Lastly, I ran the 3rd prototype when I was in Thailand. I was asked to substitute teach a class on social justice for a friend of mine. The class was very small and only had 3 participants. And so I thought it would be a good opportunity, as this was the very first class, to build some community within the class. I read through the instructions and then opened it up for someone to share. And one of the students shared deeply about her background and her home. And I noticed as she shared, the other 2 classmates found themselves relaxing, more comfortable, and as we discussed what she had shared afterwards, we were immediately at a new level of community and vulnerability and transparency in the classroom. Having done this, it made it much easier to teach. It made it easier when we broke up into groups to discuss things because we had formed a relationship with each other. So this listening activity is something that can be done halfway across the world with someone. It can be done with someone in the same room. It can be done with strangers. It can be done with people maybe that you don't necessarily get along with, but you want to learn to get to know them better. You want to understand their side, and it can just start by each other sharing a simple story and focusing on genuinely listening and caring for the other person by how you listen to them. So I encourage you to take this project that Tess has explained. Currently, we're working on getting this translated into as many languages as possible. We really want this activity to be something that can bring about transformative change as well as healing around the globe.